Well, hello there, and welcome to the newest episode of Change by Choice. My name is Charlotte Furrow. I am a certified high performance coach, and I own a consulting business that is called Thrive Consulting. So I focus in on leadership and development consulting, helping businesses really put in the systems in place that protect their people processes to ensure that we have win-win situations that are happening and that people are being set up for success. All right, so topic for today. We are going to be talking about why I love to quit things and why quitting isn't a bad thing. We just need to make sure we're quitting the right things. So quitting, yeah. I was thinking back to this entire last year and how many things that I've quit. And, you know, whenever you talk about quitting, it's like, well, you can't quit. You got to push through. And yeah, when it's something that means something to you and it's connected to your goals and it's something that you truly want for your life, you don't quit. You don't quit if you want it that badly. You have to literally every single day make the choice to push forward. But what I'm going to talk about today are all the things that we should be quitting. You know, so as I start to go through this, if you have the ability to write things down or just make some mental notes, I want you to do that. It's really important. This topic is really important. Connects to the same process of really embracing the word no. So quitting things. What are we quitting, right? So many different things that we should start reflecting on. Basically, at the end of the day, it's anything that doesn't connect us to our goals, to what we see our future being. And it could be behaviors, it could be thought processes, it could be distractions. You could be quitting certain people. Yeah, we'll get into that. That one's a tough one. So it could be people, it could be jobs, it could be projects, it could be volunteer work. So whenever I'm looking at whether or not something that I am doing is moving my needle forward towards the right direction, I look at a few different elements, right? I look at, is it bringing great energy in for me? Is it going to create a stronger future self? I look at the financial piece. Although some of the things that we're talking about aren't connected to the financial piece, unless it's draining your energy and it's actually distracting you from making more money. So again, keep that in mind. There might not be a dollar aspect to what you might be quitting, but it all connects together. And that's what I want you guys to get. Every single moment and choice in our life, it all connects. You can't deplete one side and then think that you are going to be able to keep yourself consistent and keep your energy high and keep your health in check. Everything plays a part. It's like a big old puzzle. So yeah, so I look at the financial piece. I look at if it's contributing to not only myself, but my family, right? So if it's draining my energy and it's not connected to, you know, my goals, why am I holding on to it? Is that making me a better parent? If I'm drained in certain avenues and I'm doing something and then I'm doing it and I kind of feel resentful and it's pulling my energy away, is that making me a better parent when I get home? Probably not. Right? Every choice that we make affects us. The happier we are, the more peaceful we are, the more inspired we are, and then that's what we bring back. Now, if you don't have children, you know, obviously look at it towards like your close friends and family. How are you showing up for them? So I want you to start getting that list together. And sometimes it's tough, you know, it's not always easy getting to a place where it's like, hey, you know, I'm putting my time here and I just don't feel good about it. And making that decision to quit something or to say no to somebody or say no to something, it is really a tough game. It comes naturally to some, but for most of us, it's one that we have to practice. But the most amazing part is that when you practice and you try and you do, and maybe you fail and go back a few steps and then you try it again, it's like a muscle. You become stronger and stronger every single time that you try. And before you know it, the positive repercussions make you feel so good that you start to grow and transform. And then who you were before no longer is an option. It's just not. Because that doesn't feel good. And so many of us, we gauge most of what we do by, does it feel good or does it feel bad? And it's unfortunate because part of us have, misfiled some of what feels bad. If we feel sad, it feels bad. So therefore we got to move away from it. And, we do need to redefine what some of those words and those feelings mean, but it is what it is. And so, really looking at right now, what is moving you forward? And we all know when we're doing things and it's just not aligned with who we are. And that's where I want you guys to go right now, is when you go to bed at night, or when you're sitting there in silence, or when you go and make a choice, what's the inner dialogue that you're actually having? That's your truth. Now, a lot of times we're like, oh, it's no big deal, I'll still do it. But there's always a consequence to it. And things that we don't deal with now, we always will end up having to deal with it. And unfortunately, especially this part really has to do with people. What you don't deal with now, and you're just like, I'll just do it a couple times, or, it's going to open up a can of worms, or I'm not comfortable, or I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. Well, every single time you make that choice to still do that thing, spend that time, help that person out, and you're not feeling great about it, it still ends up ruining the relationship because you're not aligned with it. Put your time and energy into things that you feel great about. It's not personal. Us saying no to certain things, as long as you're explaining why, it's not personal to that other person. You need to protect you. Bottom line, nobody else is going to do that. Us putting other people first and putting ourselves last hasn't worked. It really hasn't. Some of the consequences are, looking back and having regret, feeling used even though you made the choice, feeling like you just, don't feel great about that time, that you could have spent that time doing something else, right? Feeling resentful. So think about it, right? I quit a couple huge things this year, and they're the best choices I've ever made. And yeah, they were hard. Actually, I've quit a few things in the last 2 years, but they were good for my soul. And they made me stronger. And then I became more clear. I became more passionate. And then new opportunities came in. We want to talk about the law of attraction. You don't attract great things when you don't have the space, the time, capacity, or energy for it. When you're unclear, if you want to look at it this way, the universe doesn't know what to throw you. The clearer you become, the more driven you become, the more aligned you are, the more you attract amazing opportunities. I always say nothing comes without hard work, right? So for us to just sit back and just hope for great things to just happen, no, we need to work at it and grow. I saw this amazing post today that was like, Growth was on one side and comfort was on the other, and they were talking to each other. And you can't have both. You cannot live a comfortable, mediocre life and expect to grow. Growth comes from those very uncomfortable moments where you have to make tough decisions, where you have to do the things that a lot of people talk about, but they don't actually do. And it's every single day. 5 steps back, 3 steps forward, 1 step back, 6 steps forward. But you're so committed to your own growth that you do the work because it means something to you, because it's connected to your future self. When you do that, prosperity comes your way. You know, we have it all wrong with this whole like, figure out how to make money and then the rest will just like fall into place. Like, no, figure out what you're meant to make, you know, what you're meant to do in life. Put your all into it, your passion, align it with your strengths, do the work. Prosperity comes. Same thing goes with business. You know, you don't hope that all those systems are just going to like come into play, that, you know, oh, after we've opened up, then I'll start taking care of my people. Oh, you know, I don't have time to train right now. We don't have the time or the money. You got to carve out that time and money in order for you to see the return on your investment. It's a mindset switch. And when you make the switch and you embody it like a culture, you will see everything start to turn around. So the same thing goes with both principles. In terms of quitting things, you know, I hope that you generate a list, you know, something that I do, because this is one of those topics that there's no like cookie cutter way of doing it. I can't say to you like, hey, just do this and then you'll quit this and that's that, you know, especially when it has to do with people and projects and money and time and you know, maybe you're unclear. But there are a few things that I do when I'm feeling like I need to make a change and maybe I'm not quite there yet. So first off, always carve out time to reflect, right? We need the time of silence. It's so important. That's when you allow your body to just tell you the things that you need to know. We know when we get that gut check of like, oh, that just didn't feel right. Or I said yes, but I really don't want to do that right now. Or I'm spending time with that person and it doesn't feel good. Those are your gut checks. That's what you need to reflect into. Now, you take that time, you reflect, you start to get clear. And sometimes I give things like a period of time. I'll say, you know, if I still feel this way, 1 month from now, 3 months from now, have a very specific date. Then I'm going to let it go. So, because sometimes people just need some time. Maybe for their own conscience to be like, did I give it enough? Did I do everything I could? You know, those are often the things that come up for people. Usually you actually had the answer right at the beginning, but you just needed to like make certain, you know? What you'll do in this process is actually build up a stronger trust with yourself. And that's, you know, that's a crucial piece. One other gut check that I do is I make sure I'm not coming from a place of fear. Anytime I'm coming from a fearful place, I can't fully trust my gut. That's why that silence, that reflection, that just allowing myself to go and just see where I'm at is probably one of the most important things that I could do, not just for times like that, but for my business, for myself as a parent, for my life just in general. So going back to that date, you've got that date now. You mark it. You put it in your calendar. you have an alert on your phone, okay, that says like, hey, that time is now. If you've become clear before then you make the choice before then. You'll always hear me say that every single one of our choices is a reflection of our self-worth. What we choose to have around us, the people, our thought processes, how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about our bodies, how we feel about other people, how we see other people, how we see their success versus our success, their failures versus our failures. It all has to do about how you feel about you. So ask yourself that question. And there are times, where you feel a little bit more, out of place, maybe a little more insecure, maybe going through something. But the more you understand about how you tick and function, you'll just start to know that like, okay, I'm feeling a little off right now. I'm feeling a little down right now. I'm feeling like my confidence isn't really at the top. So I shouldn't be making any choices right now. That's when you take a step back. That's when you say, okay, right now I'm not going to make those big choices. I'm going to wait. It's important because when we make those rash decisions out of emotion, out of not feeling good, it ends up creating something much larger than it needs to be. The impact is so much greater. Sometimes we end up losing things that, we didn't want to lose. Ends up taking that one little something that you didn't feel good about, all of a sudden you're dealing with a huge something that is affecting more people than just yourself. So get to know you. Start to listen to what your body is telling you when things don't feel good, when you don't feel aligned. Take note, reflect, journal. One of the biggest tools that you can do for yourself. Now, I'm not saying dear diary, ... I'm just talking about just journaling notes of thought process things, keeping a close tab on yourself, on where you're at. Start to quit things. Do it today, even if it's something small. And if it's not a quit something, say no. Say no to something. Because in those no's, you are gaining your power back. You are in control. You get to choose. It's the whole point as to why my brand is connected to change by choice. Because when you want to change, it's just a series of choices. You don't want to change, you don't make those choices, right? So it's just one choice at a time. Let's break it down. Let's make it more simple. And it's all connected to how you want to show up as your future self. Because to me, the saddest part of all of this is to wait, tomorrow never comes. You look back 10, 15 years down the road, and you don't know who you are anymore. So I'm going to leave you with that right now. Thank you so much for listening in, and I will be posting up another. I'm going to start off by doing them once a week, unless I'm inspired to do more, but that's what you can expect. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. Take care.